just mere hours between free practice session 1 and qualifying session for the sprint race weekend in Brazil. Welcome to PITWALL, your stop for fantasy Formula 1 content. Let's just make this quick, this brief. Let's go. Look at the weather first. Earlier this week, when I was looking at this with my pit wall for lead DRD, we were having high 60-70% chance of rain. We see here with roughly 2.5 hours before qualifying, there's going to be maybe 30% chance of rain. We look at Saturday, 42 dipping down to 36, and then Sunday, virtually nothing. So it's looking like there might be damp conditions around the track, but it's not going to be really any major sources of rain. But of course, keep track of that. It was announced that Carlos Sainz is taking a 5 grid drop penalty because of a new engine. Recognize that any penalties that are given to the drivers apply to the race, not the sprint. So that means Ferrari, which is still eligible for its quali streak of plus 5 points, no problem, because Ferrari, as long as they get him in the top 10 for qualifying, they're going to get that. And then during the sprint, he'll try to go and make places. And then after his final position of quali, then the sprint, then they apply the 5 grid drop. This is what happened to Hamilton last year when he had that whole disqualification thing. He pushed through the pack, through the sprint race, then he got his 5 grid drop for the starting grid of the race. Then he was able to eventually move forward, pass Verstappen, and win. Speaking of other people who are eligible for streaks, you've got Norris with 5 points for quali streak, Perez for a plus 10 for a race streak. And then Verstappen, the man who was passed last season for the victory, he is perhaps the greatest opportunity to use your Mega Driver because of the potential of plus 13 points for the sprint. If you have not used your Mega Driver at all, this is perhaps the best last chance to use it, and use it on Verstappen this race. I'd like to promo for you our one race challenge. One team, one opportunity, submit it. I like to show with you on the screen our ORC leaderboard. These are people who have submitted into the different one race challenges over the course of the season. We are tied at the top, 87 points. Kim B, Keskor, woo woo. Keskor's like, I got there first. That means I have the tiebreaker. Well, yeah. We got everybody else's striking distance. Anita G, 83 points. Daniel M, 83 points. Guillermo S, 81. And so, yes, find the link on the screen in the description below. Just 2 races left. If you are in the top 3 scoring positions, base points. If you use Mega Driver, we only take base points. For example, if I'm Mega Driving Verstappen, you divide his score by 3, and then that way it can be fair across everybody. Or everyone would just use Mega Driver every week and get on the podium. And then we can see how it shakes up in our one race challenge. Realize I'm recording this as there's about 5 minutes left of quali. Okay, so here are my 2 teams. You see that I have Verstappen on both teams. I have Red Bull on both teams. Yes, you could see that Ferrari is a potential. After quali's over, I'll have to decide if I want to put him in to get that plus 5 points. But looking at Team 1 with a budget of 127 and Team 2 with a budget of 126. Okay, so I did get that gap back up to 1 million between the 2. So they look identical, so I'm just going to move with the one that's got the most team value at this time. Perez is looking good. Sainz, okay, he gets that plus 5 grid drop, but he's still pretty good for the turbo. I've got 0.9 million left over. And so if I wanted to switch out Tsunoda or Magnussen, let's say Magnussen because Schumacher is looking pretty good, or Vettel's looking good. He's usually pretty good at, see, I can't even afford Vettel here. Schumacher, let's see. Schumacher is 5.7. He's dropping down, so I'd wait till he drops it more in price. But let's say I did that, right? Then that means I got a little bit more work with Tsunoda, 5.6. Still not a lot. And Ricardo, well, if he was to carry the performance from the last race, he did excellent last race. If the McLaren can actually get off the hard tire in these last 5 minutes and set a time, maybe he could be an option. But as you can see here, I'm having to put it all out on that. Now, let's say though I do drop Red Bull. That gives me a lot more flexibility when I go with Ferrari. And like we were saying earlier, if Norris is looking like he can actually be something, then you can drop Tsunoda pick up Norris, and boom, then I would have to go with Ferrari and Norris. So that's a plus 10 points if I pick up their quality streaks. Is that a big enough difference between having Red Bull's gap to Ferrari versus Norris's gap to Tsunoda? That could be a big potential swing right here. So let me know in the comments below, what are you thinking for your team? Whew! Don't forget, in the description below, you can join our Discord, be a part of the conversation. And I know just barely any amount of time between when you're probably going to see this video and qualifying start, but hopefully you have the good lineups, good opportunities for the sprint race weekend. And until next time, we'll see you on the pit wall.